How are you doing this
You're
evening?
good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Oops, somewhere at my phone. Gotten used to doing a couple of the morning lives now. I'm like, it's nighttime now. Do I go to sleep or stay awake?
Right. I definitely had to have a nap this afternoon.
And I attempted that and I laid there like 30 minutes. But I did that yesterday and I ended up falling asleep. But my kid called me like an hour into it and I woke up so disoriented and like, oh my God, what's even happening? So I'm like, but if I do get a nap, I need it to be earlier. You know what I mean? If it's too late, I don't know. I'm a weirdo when it comes to sleep, so I think I take it when I can get it. It's kind of like you,
Yeah. Yeah, I had to, but then I crashed
right?
so hard that I slept through my alarm and dinner was a little late, but
Oh
dinner got,
no.
but dinner got done. Dinner got done
Okay,
and it was
because all
good.
you had to do was message me, and we could have pushed back a little bit if we needed
Oh
to.
no, no, no. No, we're done. We're good.
Okay, good. Hey V, welcome in. Yeah, I went ahead and took the extra time too. I went ahead and made me some food and got that out of the way and done. So
I I took the easy route. I just did
veg.
oven roasted stuff. I, I did an oven roasted salmon with a sweet and tangy honey glaze and then some butternut squash and some rice.
Okay, I didn't get as fancy as you. Now, yesterday I did make myself. Oh, excuse me. My coffee went down the wrong way. I made myself a really good steak yesterday and some seasoned potatoes. And tonight I just made myself like a little patty melt, but it was so freaking good. I wanted that thing so bad. I did. I was like craving it. I was like, what am I going to make? I was going to be the only one home anyway. So it's like, oh, let's make me some little patty melts. Sounds awesome.
Yeah, it's tough when you're just making food for just yourself. I almost always have leftovers when I'm just making
Oh, yeah.
myself. So tonight, it was, the son and daughter-in-law also. So I made the perfect amount. One salmon fillet, one butternut squash, one pan of rice was perfect. But if I made that for just myself, I'd have a fridge full of leftovers right now.
Used to cooking for just like myself a lot. Well, when the kids are home, it's still just the boys, but they eat a lot. But a lot of times it is just me. But I knew tonight my son wasn't going to be home. The grandson's gone over to Nana's, so just me tonight, peaceful, hanging out,
Nice.
watching that full moon out there. Oh goodness.
I
Is it?
love I love looking at the moon in the desert.
Oh yeah, I bet it's
It's
pretty.
like it's like you can reach out and touch it.
It's that way a lot of times over the Gulf of Mexico when it's like a big. I got this really cool picture that I got. Someone sent it to me actually, because they know how I am about my beach and my moons and my sunsets. But I love being on the beach when we're watching the sunset, literally, and we turn around behind us and the full moon is rising. But
Yeah.
someone took a picture. Um, and it's the big full moon rising up just above the water, but you could see there's like a pelican in the view, and I thought, moon over the Gulf of America because I hear we're gonna try to rename my Gulf. I'm like, dude, it's been the Gulf of Mexico for damn near 60 years for me. I'm not so sure I can remind myself to say anything different.
Right. Well, it's been the Gulf of Mexico for what, 500 years?
I guess, however long it's been there. We
Yeah.
don't think of it as Mexico's. I don't. I've never had that thought come through my mind that no, it's this the Gulf of Mexico. It kind of made sense to me. I don't know, but that's just me.
Yeah. And feeling that way, there's nothing political about that. It's just what we're used to.
Yeah, don't be
Are we
coming
gonna
in.
are we gonna rename New Mexico to New America?
Damn it, Joe. That was a good one. I need to remember that because I'm just like when I saw that I was like, okay, dude, you just stay out of my Gulf, man. It's bad enough y'all got spacemen splashing down out there and stuff. Big old oil spills happening and stuff. We don't need the Gulf. Don't need it, man. The Gulf's good. Anyway, well, I don't know how many we'll have in here joining us on this. I haven't. We've only done a couple of Friday night lives, haven't we?
Probably so. Yeah, I can count on that hand for sure.
I know we were doing them during the Delphi coverage, but we haven't normally just like held a Friday evening show. And I know we did a few on Saturdays, but Saturday I usually take the day off, kind of. I have been the past few months because I've been doing the Sunday now. Well, I'm going to be doing the Sunday show now. So, um, anyway, I wanted to go over. There's some new documents that are still coming down in the Koberger case, but we have a couple of hearings coming up, and one of those is going to be closed. And I was going to look at the document and talk about that for a few minutes. And there was another. Have you heard that two podcasters got the transcripts from the Delphi sentencing hearing, but nobody else has?
No.
Yeah. I heard someone, well, I stopped it because I just didn't want to give them the view. It wasn't Gray, but I've heard that Gray has the transcripts, and I know that one other person does because he dropped a live video this morning. Well, not if it was a live video, but dropped a video this morning reading the transcript.
So did
And I
they
was
have
like,
to pay the two that did they have to pay the $2,000 for the court reporter to transcribe it?
we don't know, and need some Z's. Surprisingly, it was not MS. Surprisingly, it doesn't bother me to say the name. It's not going to get me into trouble. But Sleuth Intuition Channel and Gray Hughes. From what I have not seen Gray do it, but I was told on Twitter that Gray did do it. Okay, Gray did pay
Like a thousand or
the
two
same
thousand dollars,
transcripts.
which is $1,000 or $2,000, which is what we were quoted for the other transcripts.
Well, I don't know how much the transcripts actually cost from the sentencing hearing or the sentencing day there, but I know that others other than Gray Hughes have already applied and or requested those documents and were denied the documents. So why was Gray Hughes approved to get the transcripts?
Well, the court document is the court transcript is public record. The problem comes in when Allen County clerk of the court wants to charge you by the hour for however many hours it takes to do that. And the sentencing hearing was probably shorter, so it probably was around $1,000 or a little bit under that. So maybe they paid to do that. But now it's public record. Now that it's been transcribed, there's no reason why the rest of us shouldn't be able to get that for $1 a page.
Well, there's something going on, is what the whole point behind this is, because other people had already offered to pay to get the transcribes when they were to court order. All this, a lot of BS has been going down with it, and now here you got two podcasters who all of a sudden have it before the defense even got it. So I'm saying there's something going on here, and
well,
I know
if the defense requested it, then yes, the defense should get it first. But did the defense team even request it? I mean, whoever requests it first and pays for it first should get it first. It doesn't matter who you are, if you're defense or if you're a podcaster or if you're a Allen County or Carroll County citizen. I mean, you request it, you pay for it, and you get it in order of request.
I agree, but I'm trying to say is I know people have requested before those guys did. And I've seen some of the emails come back from the clerk of court over there, even talking about needing a court order for what are supposed to be public documents. Now, I'm not going to go give Gray Hughes a watch to save my life. So I don't really care, what. I'll get the transcript on my own one day when it's out there. But I don't right now, with the way, knowing what I think I know about those two particulars and leaks and information that was being spread around early on, I find it odd that those are the ones who got the transcripts before anybody else. That's all I'm
Well,
saying.
and which way they lean.
I know exactly. Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like it's not the way it should be. You release them to everybody who asked for them, not oh well, you know what? I like you, and I like you, so you
No, no,
two I'll
yeah,
approve. You know
no, 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 no. You get that's unethical. It's not
exactly.
illegal, and you can get fired for that, and some legal
Well,
trouble probably.
in Indiana, you think they apparently can do what they want down there in you know Carroll County, or
Well, unless you're the police chief and you tow a car.
hey, didn't the police chief just get sus into trouble?
Yeah, yeah, I think he's getting fired
Yeah, I saw
for.
something
I
about
don't, and we need to go over that the next time. I'll look up that. Maybe I'll do that on my next one. I'm pretty
yeah.
sure it was over towing a car.
It was something to do with the vehicle and lying
Yeah,
about, searching the vehicle and stuff like that. I did see, some of it, but I didn't do it like a, deep dive off into it or anything. Appreciate you being here. I was just making sure I didn't miss any comments. Yeah, it doesn't feel right when it feels like they're the ones getting it. I mean, it's like the transcript's gonna say what it's gonna say. So, like you're not gonna give one version to one set of people and another version to another set. It's ridiculous. But like you said, now that it's been filed and released, maybe it will be easier for others to get their hands on them finally.
right.
All right, let me get my screen separated here so we can pull up something. Okay. When I do Sunday's show, it will be a deeper dive into some of these documents, and I'm hoping to have a guest on to talk about something specific in the Koberger case. It's not a specific evidentiary. Oh no, I don't know. It's hard to explain it, but there's just something about the case that I do want to talk about, and she's kind of like the only other person to ever talk about it. So I kind of wanted to have her on with me when I talk about it. So hopefully we can get that worked out for the weekend and get that scheduled up and be ready to go on Sunday. Wait a minute, I think I went down to Lori Vallow's case. Sorry. I'm looking for something here.
There's plenty of stuff there too.
Oh my gosh. Well, Lori's used to be so much more until her case was actually over, and now they're on the appeal process in Idaho. But they took Chad's off there finally, I think. His was another long one. Like at one time, you had Koberger and Vallow and Daybell all on here, and it was like,
Yeah, no
documents
kidding.
everywhere, documents everywhere. Why couldn't every state be as easily, neat and clean as this?
Yeah, we were. What live was I? What chat was I in the other day that we were talking about that? And they were talking about how they got a lot of the Stephen Stearns stuff released, so we have a pretty good idea of what a POS he is. And I was like, well, that's Florida has a sunshine law, and Indiana likes to operate in the dark.
Yeah, it's too bad everybody. I mean, all of the states, all states have a sunshine law, but they don't have the same exact one that we have. Okay, and I'm so glad that we do. Sometimes it's like, whoa, that's a lot of information you're giving me. That I may not have needed to know all that, but then again, a lot of these cases you do need to know all the information.
Yeah, there's a there's a balance between too much information and not enough information, because if you have too much, you can taint the jury pool. Like
Yeah.
you can make it hard to find an impartial jury if you release too much information.
Yeah. Well, even if they're, like I said, we don't rarely get a gag order in Florida. So if it's going to be in a court document, you're going to see it, and that is what it is. And people can argue that in Florida all day long, but then I always go back to Casey Anthony. 2 years non-stop publicity, non-stop. 2 years of parents in the news doing interviews, people hanging out on the lawn, fighting, emails, uh, jailhouse phone calls viewed for pre all kinds of pre-trial stuff. Casey walking herself through Universal to take them to where she worked, knowing she didn't damn well work there at all. She was lying the entire time. We saw it all, and then some. And like I said, no gag order, no change of venue, nothing. And Casey Anthony walked out of there innocent because the jury followed their instructions. And unfortunately, the state failed to prove their case. And so, people make that. I get it, because I'm like, I just like then all this, but then I think about that case. And I'm like, but, because it came up the other day, we were watching that case you were showing, remember? And they talked about how the jurors were impacted seeing the defendant sit there with the shackles on and the
Yes.
handcuffs.
Yes.
And that was from pretrial hearings. And we all saw how the few hearings we got to see in Delphi, how Rick was treated compared to the way Koberger had been treated during his hearings, like literally suit and tie. Because normally you don't get the suit and tie until you go to trial. Casey Anthony showed up for all of her hearings in Florida orange. That's what I call it, and she didn't get her regular street clothes, her little preppy Miss Innocent clothes, until trial. It's
Right.
just crazy how,
Same with Rick. Yeah, the same with Rick.
yeah,
Rick showed up in Indiana orange, shackled
yep,
for all of the pretrial hearings.
and dirty in a couple of them, and it's so I can't always say, well, all of that is going to taint a jury pool and make them biased, because if all of that, she wouldn't have walked out of that courtroom. If they based everything on all they saw 2 years prior, and I saw all of it, but I also saw that entire trial, and make me a liar all day long doesn't make me a killer. Now, I'm not taking up for Casey Anthony, because honest to God, I have no clue. I don't know if her and her daddy, or I don't know what the fuck's going on over there, but I know she's not innocent. Let me put it that way. But you got to prove it, and they failed to do that. So, like, even with the Koberger case, I can sit here and talk to you all day long about how he had all his troubles in his youth that are legitimate and true, just like Casey's were, but that doesn't make him a quadruple homicidal maniac. Or then again, it could. It can go both ways. Yeah, V, we have very. That's why I was really intent on those jury instructions in Delphi, because here in Florida we have they send that home. You know what I mean? And then you start to have to ask yourself, what is your reasonable doubt and my reasonable doubt? Are they different, right? Joe and I have had that discussion before, and two people can look at one thing and see it totally different. We see that all the time. Shit, we just saw it in the Delphi trial. Most of us are on the same page, and then we look at those who saw it way differently, and we're scratching our heads going, what? I guess that's the importance of the 12 jurors, and you try to get a good mix of people, right?
Yeah. And then and then you look at the social media jury pool.
Oh, yeah.
And most of us who are on the side of we don't feel like the state proved their case are willing to listen to arguments on both sides of it. But most of the people who say he is absolutely 100% guilty just completely shut out any other viewpoint at all, any other facts, any other arguments. They're just like, nope, he's guilty. And look, he's guilty. And they're right. The jury did convict him, but the just two completely different mindsets.
Yeah, definitely. And and even like with this question here or comment, sure, but show us the evidence of Koberger. So far, I've not seen it. Nothing in his car or apartment. Um, does that really mean anything though? That I don't know, and I'm not. I'm honestly asking, asking the question basically right along with you. Because we have to remember a couple of things when it comes to Brian Koberger. We have to remember what he did for a living and what he was going to school for. And he wasn't caught for 6 solid weeks. Was there enough time to adequately clean a car? Did he prepare enough? If he's the guy and a mastermind, did he prepare enough that that wasn't going to be a problem? So I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how that plays out because they have come out. The defense has said no evidence in the car or the apartment, and honestly, they didn't get a lot out of that apartment. If you look at the uh, sorry, that I was reading a comment backstage and it just left me. If you look at the search warrant return, which we do have for the apartment, there was not a lot in that apartment when they got there. It's like he lived like a minimalist almost, right? And then he, left to go home for the holidays. I'm assuming he planned to go back. There was a couple of things still in the apartment, so, but not a lot was in there. And they got some hairs. They got a possible dog hair, presumptive tests on a blood spot on the bed, the fire stick, that things like that. That nothing that sounded incriminating. So the more interesting stuff, if you look at the search warrants, came from the Pennsylvania searches, and they're trying real hard to keep those Pennsylvania searches out of evidence right now. Well, V, I mean, there's a lot of possibilities because a lot of us that have been following this case have been following it as long as I've followed Delphi because the arrests were a month apart. Koberger was arrested 6 weeks after these killings. Because I know people on the internet get attacked, and I know this firsthand, so I'm just going to go ahead and put this disclaimer up here. In fact, let me get one up here because everybody is innocent until proven guilty. We all have our opinions and our theories, and I don't mind those being shared here. So let me just play devil's advocate for a moment. If you study something like he did, and he was not a dumb guy, he was extremely bright, very good things like how to protect yourself against leaving a lot of DNA behind or against leaving things in your car. I don't want to get too, unless you guys are down for that kind of conversation, because I can tell you exactly how it probably happened. But that don't mean he did it, because I honest to God don't know. I'm not never that kind to make up my mind and be like, I'm pro Koberger, I'm pro defense, pro pros. Nope, I have no clue. I'm going by these court documents, and so far Anne has thrown a lot of stuff at the wall that seems to be standard. I'm waiting on her to give me something I can really get behind. So far, all she's giving me is they got to my client illegally through some IgG DNA stuff, which has been used before, so how illegal was it? You know what I mean? Let's see. Snuck in. Okay, do you mean because of the gag order? Because the gag order is killing me, man. You go and look at these filings, like, the Frank's motion in Delphi. We all got to see that darn thing. We can't see the Frank's motion over here in Idaho. So, is it because you got some cops that lied? Is it because you got some lying done on the IGG about when that came back and how you got to my client, and so therefore your warrants are illegal, and everything obtained from the warrants through the poison tree, it all has to go now. So we don't even know what's in the darn Frank's motion. He was studying cloud-based forensics, but Brian also had a degree in psychology. He also attended DeSales University and studied under Kathleen Ramsled, the leading authority on BTK serial killer. He studied criminology major, and now he was going for a PhD. Um, he did more than just, cloud based, but that was a big part of it. And if you think about what's a big part of his case, cloud based forensics, data, cell phone data, car data, cameras, you know, because the only thing physically tying him there is going to be the sheath. But other than that, all the evidence against Brian Kohberger is all digital. Also, when Cy took the stand and said everything he's seen is exculpatory, Cy never testified for defense. You're right. There's a, and it, we're gonna. I'm glad you kind of brought him up because I wanted to get into a little bit about Cy. Is Cy still around? Because when Cy testified, you have to remember he did say he reserved the right to change his mind later as more of the data came in for him to evaluate. We haven't heard anything else out of Cy. He's got his podcast going on. But was there something that he saw finally? Because he used to work with the guys who did the cast and all the data stuff, right? He used to work with those guys, and he used to testify prosecution. Now, also, when Cy did his own company, there's been twice that Cyre's work has been kept out of court because it wasn't accredited or accepted so by his peers in the forensic space, so in cell data. So there's been a couple of times where his methods were questioned. There's been times his testimony has been used, and it's just fine. It can go either way with that guy. But we need to keep in mind that he did say that he reserved the right to change his mind later. Yeah, you did. There was a lot of that going on as well. This WSU wasn't his first time in school for what he was doing. He also knew that putting a phone in a Faraday bag was probably a really good idea. Because you have to ask if you're trying to figure things out, you got to put yourself in their mind if they did it, and in all that. It's crazy that yeah, he's not supposed to talk about it in public with a gag order in place. I know he's been on. I'm not going to say her name, but I know he's been on a podcast. That case was because the judge got in trouble. No, this was one where the Supreme Court. Yeah, that must be a different case because there was a couple of cases. You can Google it and look it all up.
Well, on the outside looking in, just as the everyday Joe Schmo who leans Kohberger guilty right now, based on the fact that there was DNA evidence on the sheath. That's like the main point of evidence for me. All the other stuff, the cameras and the cell phone data is something too. But if I'm looking at this guy big picture, studying what he was studying, and being as weird as he is, and having a thing with just being like a creep around girls, like the bars that he was in Pennsylvania before he ever went out west, and then getting in trouble once he got out to WSU and getting kicked out of the program. It's like, was he studying to commit the perfect murder?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that's what
And
it kind of feels like. It feels like he was taking that, and in the back of his mind, he's like, "I'm going to figure out a way to commit the perfect murder."
well, if it wasn't for the fact that some of these tendencies started showing adolescent, maybe it'd be different. And I'm going to tell you, Ann Taylor's already stated in the very beginning how far back she needed to go to delve into the mental history of the family. Right, all that will come into mitigation when it's the guilt phase, um, that type of stuff. And it just had me, it gets you thinking, and that's kind of what we're going to talk about a little bit with this IGG. And V, honey, I don't take you as dumb or arguing, babe. You are very, you're good. I appreciate, I'm a good, I like to debate. So if I sound like that, I don't mean to. I'm going to debate we're going to debate it back and forth. You know what I mean? I don't mean anything by it. Um, I love a good conversation about the case because I feel like there's so much, because I feel like it could go both ways. This guy has a lot in his background that says, oh, yeah, you might have been heading down a dangerous road. And then there's like, I was out riding around looking at the stars, like, really, dude? Yes, you could have been, but I think your phone data would show. So, and Anne said the state's phone data would provide their alibi. Well, now she wants that data kept out of court. But if you keep it out of court, then you don't need no alibi because you got no case. So, hell, which way do you go? Yeah,
So,
yeah. If you did you, it's been a while. I'm sorry, Joe. We're gonna have to watch that Ray testimony again soon, just to give everybody a refresher who wasn't familiar with it. Because I haven't watched it in a hot minute either, and I want to watch it again as well. Go ahead, Joe.
so yeah, no, V made a comment, which is a valid point because a lot of times the media does create a perspective to the public about certain suspects, and they jump on the publicity of a case. But
Hmm.
just because the media reports it doesn't mean it's not true. Like I pulled up an article really quick right now. Suspect in Idaho killings had made creepy comments to brewery staff, customers, owner says. So it's the owner that's saying it. I mean, it's the mainstream media that's reporting it, but it's the
Right,
owner that's saying it. So
right,
it's a very valid point to make, and it's a consideration that we all need to consider when we hear things like that. But
exactly.
creepy is in quotes in this article. So I don't know.
When there was some statement before, like early on in Delphi as well, the Walmart employees came out and said a few things, and I read the comments they made or the statements, and I was like, you can't take, you got to take things with a grain of salt, kind of put them at where you weigh them, and does this really have any bearing on what I think they feel shy, or there was really nothing horrible said about the man, a little pervertish maybe, whatever was said didn't give me any red flag indication that, oh my god, that guy could be a murderer. Do you know what I mean? Now I
Right.
know
And
Brian
and
Koberger's gotten in
yeah,
trouble, but
the
more,
same
way
the same
more.
thing with it. Yeah, the same thing with the creepy comments that I'm reading right now. Just because the owner of a brewery said that
Mm,
people the girls were calling him creepy does not make him a murderer by in any
right.
way, shape, or form.
Need some Z's. You'd be surprised at how many people did not know about Faraday bags until we began deep dive in this Idaho 4 case before the Delphi case popped off. There were so many people so deep in Idaho, I couldn't get none of them to come over to Delphi with me. I'm like, y'all take a break, come out of Idaho, come get some fresh air. Let's go to Indiana because that's where the trouble is. Because it certainly wasn't in Idaho, not that I could see. I was getting bored over there in Idaho. But yeah, you would be surprised at how many now know, but didn't know before. And we have to remember that Koberger's phone was on, from 243. or when he left his apartment, and then it went off, and it was off for 2 solid hours, and it was back on. So I had to ask myself, I was like, this guy is super damn smart. He has studied criminology and all the things, and for years he's got it going on. Why take the damn phone? Because if I did it, I could easily say I left my phone laying beside the bed on the nightstand, and by the time I realized I forgot the phone, I was too far from the house and I wasn't going back. I was just going to continue on with my drive because I know my route. I'll just take a chance something's not going to happen to me in the middle of the night as a girl, whatever. But that's not what happened. Took it with him. So why? Because that's what bothers me the most about this case. If he's the person, why take that phone? There was a purpose behind it. And then the alibi came out. I was over here driving around. Really? Was the phone for 2 hours in a Faraday bag laying over here somewhere where you were driving? I mean, I had to put my mind, I have to go there. I don't know. It's hard to figure out. But it's not safe to talk about these things sometimes without people wanting to go at you for talking about that. And I'm like, well, if Rick Allen had this kind of shit in his past or anything, we would talk about that. But there was literally nothing except for some damn loudmouth Walmart employees.
Yeah, it needs some Z's. Absolutely, we're waiting to see more evidence.
Oh,
At
yeah,
least I am. Some
definitely.
people aren't. Some people are already camped on both sides.
Oh, man, they camped early on. Joe, that's what this case, like, even covering it and being like, knowing what I know and being part of an, community as a community member with all this, and I know how everybody thinks about this case, you absolutely needed to choose a side. And I'm like, why? So then when I started diving deeper into Delphi, it was almost the same thing. I'm like, why? Why? I can lean a certain way based on what I see in a court document, but I'm not going to lean a certain way based on what I'm seeing and hearing on social media. And when it came down to the two cases, everything in Delphi was based on what was going down in court filings and by the prosecution's own alternate investigation. Everything we were hearing over here in Idaho was rumor mill stuff. Nothing about any of that in a court document except how'd you get to my client?
Yeah, and I think Bob
That's been
Mata
the
makes a
whole process. Go ahead.
I think Bob Mata makes a really good point in the fact that the prosecution, whether it's the law enforcement having a press conference, the prosecutor having a press conference, and we saw it in Coburger, we saw it in Delphi. Well, we see it in every single case across the board. They get to stand up there and have a press conference and say, "We found such and such and such and such, and we have arrested the suspect." Like they
Right.
get to present their case to the public before the defense even has a chance. So already people are leaning towards guilt, and I
Well,
find myself doing it.
it's funny you say that because Ann Taylor brought that up during one of the hearings, and because they're under the gag order, and if she's wanted the gag order too, at times there's times that she doesn't want it at all, but she brought that point up, and she said that Bill Thompson, the chief prosecutor here, whatever you call him, lead prosecutor, head prosecutor, whatever, top dog in Idaho. Um, so he gets out there on TV at a press conference, and they release the PCA, and he's talking about share it far and wide. She didn't like that, so she brought that up in the court hearing about pretrial publicity type stuff. Because, we've had a motion recently filed here in the Coburg, and I kept telling everybody, just wait for it, because I knew Vallow got the death penalty off the table in Idaho because the prosecution got sanctioned for a failure to turn over discovery on time. Ann's filed the same type of thing here. Um, Motion to compel with sanctions, and they did that. over in the Vallow case. So, and I kept saying, and people kept saying, oh my God, she's filing all these motions to compel. Well, every time something new comes up in all those 65, 70, whatever it was, terabytes, she's got, now she needs another motion because now she wants to compel more, right? And every time Anne compels more, it's, I want your notes, everything, your emails, not just your basic reports that I'm asking for. And she's talked about that in open court. That's where I get that from. When I go to court, I listen to what Anne says, and sometimes the judge has to remind her, "No, ma'am," and she's like, okay. But there's sometimes she's absolutely right. I like her. She's a good attorney. Like, if you're going to be up against the death penalty in Idaho, I think Ann Taylor's the person you want in your corner. I'm going to share this screen real quick. I already got it up there. Duh, we just didn't read it yet. So this one, I knew it was on the docket, or it was on the case summary, but it hadn't hit the docket yet until today. I think it was this morning or maybe late last night. So January 21st at 10 a.m., there will be that's 10 a.m. Mountain Time. The court will hold a closed, sealed hearing by remote video to hear the defense motion to unseal materials related to its request to suppress evidence stemming from the use of IgG DNA. Now, the defense wants to unseal those materials. Why do you think that is? They will also consider what portions, if any, under what circumstances, the various motion set to be heard the 23rd, and they've added one now on the 24th as well, because there was already one on the books for the 23rd. So they're also going to also will consider what portions, if any, and what circumstances, various motions set to be heard on the 23rd and 24th to be open to the public, either live or by video. Okay, so go ahead, Joe. Do you have any thoughts?
No, I was just going to say, if the defense wants it unsealed, it's got to be exculpatory.
Yeah. Well,
or at least yeah. If it's not exculpatory, why do they care if it's unsealed or not?
right. Well, they want to show you what did their thing. I want to show you guys this tweet. This is an account. Oh, let me get my other page. Get up here. Do this right. I need another cup of coffee. Sorry, guys. Let me get my screen to act right. I was reading, and I don't remember which document it is right this minute, because tomorrow's when I say day off from true crime, I'm lying. I take that day to really do some deeper dives into stuff to try to look at during the week. Why is my screen not working? So I was reading one of these documents here in Idaho, and I thought, that's got some strange wording in it. The vocabulary, the language just didn't sit right with me. And it made me think they knew more about Brian Kohberger than just his name off that DNA profile. That's the only way I know how to put it. And I'm like, well, why? How? Why would that matter? So then I stumbled. Defense attorney out of California. She goes hard for Brian Kohberger, but she'll also point out when things are right or wrong, for either side. So let me pull her up here. Share my screen. Her name is Mercy Wright, for those of you who may not know who she is. Like I say, she is on Twitter. And if I ever need a defense attorney, I know Mercy will go hard for me. So this is, let me go back up here. Okay. So, no, that's not the one I wanted to start with. Where'd it go? Maybe it was. Oh, yeah, because she was bitching about the calendars. Okay. Let me go back up.
I saw something about IgG up there that you scrolled past.
I thought she had two separate things on it, but she didn't. She started out with the one. Okay, this is so 22 hours ago, she had posted musings on the motion to suppress genetic information, and we have that document. We can We can take a look at it, right? Unseal that shit. Um, here, here, the way in which the IgG material was accessed and used warrants public disclosure. We know the database were accessed illegally per a prior filing. So how was it used in a way to warrant disclosure? Did they obtain health information, genetic disease info, or other personal data? The defense argues that IgG is already out in the public realm, and they haven't denied that's his DNA. So then, what's the big whoop here? And she says, in her mind, it has to be more than your typical IgG investigation. The FBI had to have gone further in some way, and that's really fucked up. And I agree. And when I read it, I was like, damn, Mercy, are you thinking what I was thinking from that? And now I
She
got to.
didn't say the F word. She didn't say the F word. You
No,
inserted
she was being nice.
that.
I don't it. But yeah, a star upped. No, that's like saying unalived. I feel like I'm two. Man, I earned the right to cuss. Damn it, man. Okay, so that was one of hers, but that really got me thinking. So what did they, and what could you? I mean, none of that's gonna prove your guy did anything, right? Like if you did look down some medical history and you looked up at this and that, like she was describing, none of that's gonna prove your guy did anything, but it gives you some genetic background. What the hell you need my genetic background? You won't even give Rick Allen a legit evaluation in the prison. But you're going to take my genetic DNA and go, oh, you know what? Your great, 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 great grandpa had some issues, and great, 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 great uncle had this, and all. Will all that come back to help me in the long run if I'm that messed up? Wow, stay out of my DNA. All right, so there was something else she had also said in a tweet that I wanted to read. Um, Here's another one. This show might be the one you had saw, Joe. I guess she did have to. If true that the FBI illegally accessed the DNA database, Hitler may very well keep the hearing closed for the same reasons, in part, that the Franks hearing or motions are held in judge's chamber, to protect the officer's reputation and to maintain public trust in law enforcement. Laugh out loud.
LOL, yes.
That's Mercy. You gotta love her. She doesn't mince her words. She never does. And so, did we read this?
I would have LOL'd if she didn't put LOL on there.
Yeah. Um, in its motion to suppress genetic information, the defense admits it's Brian's DNA on the sheath, evidence seized using his genetic information. So the defense needs to have pretty conclusive evidence that he was elsewhere during the time of the murders. There's an ID SUP case, Idaho Supreme Court case. She says, no, I don't have the link at hand, where the court stated since the defendant claimed no connection to the victim, then the only way his DNA could have been on the outside of her vehicle is if he was at the crime scene. Duh. Curious if once they had his profile, they used it to create a genetic profile, e.g., behavioral traits. See? Why I'm so confused and intrigued at the same time and need fresh coffee. So I shall be right back, okay? Can you handle it, Joe?
I don't know. We're going to have to talk amongst ourselves.
You guys chat with Joe in the chat. I'll be right back.
This case is so rabbit hole-ish, and it's so polarizing, like Delphi. And the funny thing is, when I started out in the Delphi case, I was convinced, I wouldn't say convinced like on a jury beyond a reasonable doubt that Richard Allen was guilty, but I was like, hey, hooray, they got the right guy. And then over time, it just like evolved until its exact opposite. And I just grew to understand the buffoonery of the Carroll County Sheriff's Office and Doug Carter and the ISP, and then kicking off the FBI. So I wonder where we're going to go in this case, because I'm starting out leaning Koberger's probably guilty. They probably got the right guy. I mean, they found evidence that connect him to the scene of the crime, and DNA is stronger than an unspent round. I mean, with tool marks. But if that DNA evidence is in question, then you could convince me that they got the wrong guy somewhere down the road. I got to see more evidence. Pink Peony, welcome in. Good to see you.
Okay, I'm back.
Yeah.
Hi, Pink. How are you doing? Outside of whose vehicle? What did I miss? Need some Z's. Oh, heck, that coffee's hot.
Well, hopefully it's strong too.
Oh, I used to. I told my niece one time I like my coffee like I like my men, and my brother looked at me and I said strong, and she started laughing, and I was like, "No, I
No
like
cream
those
or
dudes
sugar?
have strong." Light sugar, light cream. I used to use sugar, religiously. It was like that had to be part of the coffee. Then one day I was like, you know what? I'm feeling really weird on all this damn sugar, and that's the only thing I cut back on sugar. Like, I didn't change my sodas. I cannot do diet sodas. Those are nasty to me. I drink regular. My tea is sweet tea. If I drink tea, whatever. Coffee, I cut out sugar completely, and I have a little bit of cream, and that's the way I like it, and strong.
Yeah, I get accused of making jet fuel.
Jet fuel. I'd probably could get down with that jet fuel. Be like, hell yeah, Joe, let's get it on. Let's get the caffeine. Honey and coffee is so much better with cream. Now, I've been known to make some hot tea, even though I'm from the deep south. I will make it. And I'll put it in my tea. So I've not done it in my coffee yet, girl. I'll try that. Sometimes I'll get me some of that fancy mocha creamer and put in. But look, it's so funny that if I go to a coffee shop, like a legit coffee shop, we have one in town called Mama Latte, and of course we got Starbucks. And if I get like a latte, I want a mocha, but it's hot, it's sweet, it's good, and I treat myself then. But at home, nah, on the regular. Oh, thank you, Pink. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. And if you guys don't mind, hit the like button. That really helps us out. We're trying to grow the channel. Um, yeah, and thank you to all of our new subs as well. I appreciate that. We got some things we're going to be bringing down the line as far as members only. I'm sorry, I keep saying subs. I get the two confused. Members only stuff coming on down the line as we continue to grow. But I still do, I'm trying to keep up with posts on the YouTube channel, on the post section, to keep you guys informed of new stuff coming down and keeping you abreast of new things in these documents and stuff. So let me pull up this other. Did you guys see that Mickey Steins, the former sheriff who shot the judge over in Kentucky, had a status hearing today?
Yeah. Status hearings always get my attention, but in reality, they're kind of boring most of the time. Every once in a while, you see something interesting in there, like especially when you have somebody representing themselves, like Lori Vallow Daybell. Now Lori
His was
Daybell.
his was uneventful and routine. The judge was really good. I liked him. Didn't have a reason not to. He's a special appointed judge, and they've appointed a special clerk of court to handle all documents and requests and da da da. But they basically are going to be looking to set a bond hearing and, of course, a mental evaluation. But they have a thing there. Well, it's not a thing there. It's anywhere. s- oh my gosh, how do you say it? I got the article somewhere. Credible or something negligence, right? Like, how culpable is he for his own negligence, basically, based on like a criminal insanity type defense. So that's basically what they're going to be doing, is holding hearings on that and getting the testing going forward for things like that. And I believe try to set a bail hearing. So it'll be interesting to see how that comes down. And out of all of this, I believe the judge was doing something nefarious. I really do, especially after listening to the witness who stated so. But what caused that sheriff to do that? Especially if they were in on it, because you can't tell me that it was just the bailiff
Well,
that got.
didn't it theoretically involve the sheriff's daughter?
We don't know what that even had to do with it at this point, because the only thing we do know of is about a phone call from the sheriff's phone to her phone, no answer. He she does, or she does answer, but then as the phone is laying on the desk, as he's pulled the weapon out toward the judge, that cell phone starts ringing. You can see it lighting up, and then reports came out that it came out in court, actually, at the preliminary hearings, that it was a phone call with the daughter. But all of the problems seemed to stem from whatever was going down with that civil suit. And that one witness said she saw video of the judge doing the nasty in his chambers with female inmates. And that
I thought
Mickey
that was a
Stein was.
deputy. I thought that was a deputy. That was the judge.
She said it was the bailiff, the judge. I've got her. I've got her audio, and it was Mickey Stein's. So you can't tell me if that is true in her sworn statement. If it couldn't have been just the three of them,
No, 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 no.
but something. Was the judge getting ready to throw the sheriff completely under the bus? It's all you, buddy. I'm walking away.
Uh, it seemed like a
I,
crime. It seemed like a crime of passion to me. I mean, just
it
when I
did,
watched the video, it's
obviously.
like
Yeah.
he's like, "You mf'er, you're, I'm gonna freaking yeah."
And then he said after, hey, JC, honey, welcome in. He said, they're trying to kidnap my wife and daughter. And then I've got some newly released, well, we'll have to get into it, but since we're doing Coburger, we'll do it maybe Sunday. Um, there's some newly released video cam of him being transported to the jail, and that they're talking to him, the driver, the officer, just tell me what happened, buddy, just tell me how you did it, just, and then Mickey says, y'all just treat me fair, and things like this. But I felt like the other officer was just really trying to get it out of him, what the hell just happened back there. um, but there's another channel. Forrest, if you're in here, can you drop it? It's
He said he had to
Hillbilly.
take a break.
Okay, I'll
I'll
do
see
it.
if
Let
I
me
can
go.
find it. No,
Let
no, you keep talking. I'll see
She
if I can
is.
find it. Tell
I
me.
got to make sure I got her name right, because she's got some really good content on this. She's the leader, in my opinion. Hillbilly Crime.
Let me see.
Yeah, Hillbilly Crime, at Hillbilly Crime is her channel. She's in Kentucky. She is either there in Letcher County or right next door. I'm not real sure.
What? There's hillbillies in Kentucky? No
Yeah, her
way.
and her mama. Her mama is a good old lady. But she got a lot of the documents, right? And I had
There
heard,
you go.
or when I applied, like my understanding was I had to have an ID, Tennessee, a Kentucky ID. But I haven't reached out to her about sharing those docs with me. But I go to her channel and listen to her read the documents, and she's got some great content on the Sheriff Steins case. If you want to get caught up on some really good content, she's going to bring it to you. And I know that she had the status hearing. She was trying to air it live. It was on a Zoom, and there was something going down. But anyway, it finally hit the airwaves, and I saw it at Court TV, but she also has it posted as well. So if you go check her out, she's got a lot of good content there, and she'll get you up to
Oh
speed
yeah.
on the case. You know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah. She's got a lot of stuff. I can just like
Mm-hmm.
browsing through. Holy cow.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
I
and
dropped the link. I dropped the link there in chat.
oh, thank you. Yeah, because she's just a super laid back, and she doesn't mind it. A hillbilly girl, like I'm in the South. I'm as Southern as you're gonna get, but so is she. You know,
We
but she's
in
smart.
Indiana. In Indiana, we make jokes about Kentucky a lot, but I'll refrain in this chat.
God, oh, I bet. It's jokes all over. You know, we've heard the damn Florida jokes forever. Florida man and his stupid ass.
Well, Florida man deserves it. I mean, come on.
So does Indiana man, Wisconsin man, Nevada
Touche.
man.
Touche.
Shit, California man. I'm sure everybody got a man. Lord help us all. I have to take my roommate to the emergency room. Oh no, you don't worry about getting back here for us. You go do what you got to do and you take care, and we will all keep you in our prayers, blessings, sending you good vibes. Whatever it is we're into, we're doing it. We got
Yep.
you.
Yep.
Be careful. Don't worry about it. We got this. You go take care of you and your friend, okay? Wish
Chest pains
you
are nothing to mess with. You got
not
to
at
go take
all.
care of that.
Yep. Wish your roommate well from all of us. All right. All right. Let us know something. Certainly isn't anything to play with, is it? Okay. So let's look at 1227. Where'd it go?
In fact, if you add a couple more symptoms in there with chest pains, you ought to be calling 911.
Yeah. Yeah. My cousin, bless her heart, she's had her fair share of, well, she's had a couple of heart attacks, but we've had to call for her. Sorry, guys, I'm looking for something over here
You're fine. You're
on
fine.
the thing. Oh,
Yeah, Pink Peony, that is always good advice to never take chances with chest pains. Always. Um, Sometimes chest pain is interpreted a lot of different ways, but definitely nothing to mess with. I mean,
especially.
I've,
Hmm.
I've had quote unquote chest pains for a long time, but it's chest tightness, I would call it, instead of chest pain. And most of the time it's just due to anxiety. And it took me a while to figure that out and to get diagnosed properly for it.
Yeah, that
But
can take a minute when you have anxiety because your first description of it is it feels like a heart attack until they get to the
yep,
bottom of it through their questioning. But the thing about calling 911 in that situation is they can administer life-saving measures immediately
yes,
once they're there. You know, and
yes,
that
yep,
that in the end means could mean a lot, could mean everything, you
yep,
know. So,
absolutely.
but do what you need to do there. Everybody be safe out there.
Early intervention is critical.
I'm gonna have to call the 911 because I don't have a car anymore since my kid totaled mine, and I'm not buying another one. Like I'm just refusing.
You should get you one of those electric scooters.
Usually my other son's here. Usually he's here, but be all right. That's what they got the ambulance service for, right? I just call them, come get me. Shit, let me get all my stuff first. In case y'all keep me, I need to be comfy overnight. Take my own blanket, my own house coat and stuff. Lord. Okay, let me. This is. Yeah, me too. Me too. Joe as
I,
well.
yeah, I didn't even know that's what I was dealing with. Like I went through 4 years of testing upon testing and poking and prodding and going to the breathing specialist or whatever you call those, like 15 different kinds of specialists, and getting 7 different prescriptions at the same time. Oh, yeah.
Well, all I can say about anxiety and living with it like long term the way I have, I was really willing to try, and I've learned a lot of tools over the years to try. Sometimes it was, nothing gonna help. And sometimes it would take medication. Sometimes it would take learning tools to get me there. Like even when I go sit outside, like that is my saving grace. If I don't get that time out there, like when it's been too cold here for 4 or 5 days in a row, where I cannot even sit out there and enjoy it for 5 minutes, I start to feel it like big time. And I'll be like, oh, thank God it's warm today and the wind's not blowing. Hour later, it's different.
Yeah.
But yeah, you got to
I
find
think,
what
I think,
works for you.
well, not just what works for you, but also the perspective of other people.
Mhm.
So it used to be when I would hear people talk about anxiety and say they had anxiety, I was highly skeptical that it was like actually a thing and that they were actually like real symptoms. I was like, you're just being a hypochondriac, just suck it up. And then I met somebody that for sure had real anxiety, somebody that was close to me and caused real symptoms, and it changed my mindset completely. And then I realized, oh my god, I've got anxiety too. And and that's what's causing all of these symptoms. So the people that are skeptical of it, just keep an open mind and just it's real. The symptoms are real. Like they cause actual physiological things in people's bodies and in their minds. So
It causes a physical reaction,
yes,
mental reaction, a
yep,
lot, and there's a lot of different factors that cause true anxiety. There's anxiety about drama in your life, but I live a drama-free life, or I try super hard to. It's like my goal in life. I don't keep anybody around that causes drama, so like literally the anxiety will still be there, so you have to
yeah,
just that's when you learn, even coming on here and talking, to your friends, getting your mindset changed or getting to a different vibe, getting something off your mind for a little while helps,
absolutely does.
that little.
But there could, like there will be times when I have anxiety, and I will tell somebody close to me I'm having anxiety right now, and I recognize it from the symptoms, not from anything that's conscious. They'll be like, "Well, what's causing your anxiety?" And it can literally be nothing that I know of consciously that's
Oh
causing the
yeah,
anxiety. It
I
just
know.
comes on. Yeah.
Well, you may need to get your thyroid checked.
Okay, mom.
No, actually, and I say that to you because me and my mom both have thyroid disease, and now my 17-year-old, now 18-year-old, was just diagnosed with the same thyroid disease. And
Oh wow.
when I began my journey to figure out my anxiety, they figured it out through the doctor who was going to figure out my anxiety, not the medical doctor. My mother was diagnosed the same way through her doctors treating her anxiety. And I had a doctor tell me one time, she said, honey, I want to tell you something. She said, and especially in women, when you start presenting anxiety and insomnia, these different things, thyroid 101 is part of psych 101.
Wow. And when I laughed, I didn't
I'm
laugh
just
like
saying.
dismissively. But when I laughed, I
Yeah,
didn't laugh dismissively at all. I laughed
you're
just
good.
because people, yeah, people that care about me tell me that a lot. Not check your thyroid specifically, just
Mm-hmm.
go. Go check things out. I hate going to the doctor. I hate it.
Well, there's a thing I have too. I'm only going to tell somebody a couple times go to the doctor. After that, it's on them. You know, same way with myself. I'm only going to tell myself once or twice. After that, if I don't go, hey, that shit was on me. Like right now, if I don't go to the eye doctor this week, I may not be able to see next week. It's that bad. Broke my glasses again, but they're the Dollar General ones, and I don't need to go buy more. I need to get some real ones. So anyway, let's get back to these darn documents.
Yes.
We could just have a Friday night free for all. You guys got anything goofy you want to say, or tell us how goofy we are right now to get on with the program? We're fine. If you got to say that, I'm good to hear it. Okay, so this is a stipulated motion to seal the state's objection and exhibit to defendant's motion to suppress. Come now, the state of Idaho, by and through Latah County prosecuting attorney, hereby moves the court pursuant to Idaho Court Administrative, the Idaho Court, and orders sealing state's objection and exhibit to defendant's motion to suppress. They say it's going to interfere with enforcement of proceedings or deprive a person of a right to a fair trial or an impartial adjudication, or it could constitute an unwarranted invasion of personal privacy. Order sealing the IGG. Disclose the identity of a confidential source. And everybody has a big hang up with that statement right there. It's one of the 4 listed. Doesn't mean there is or was, or is that standard? Disclosure, investigative techniques, and procedures. So, investigative. I always felt it to be one of the 4. You know what I mean? That look, 1, 2, 2, 3, 4. It should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They made a boo boo. The undersigned has contacted the defense and have no objection. But we go sealing everything. The state respectfully requests that the court seal from the public's disclosure the state's objection and exhibits to defendant's motion to suppress genetic. This genetic IgG stuff, we knew early on was going to be an issue. Such an issue.
Wasn't there something amateurish about the lab that they sent it to initially, or something questionable about the lab that they sent it to initially?
No, because initially I think it went to ISP first, and they couldn't do anything. So then they went to Orthram, and so Orthram is a very widely accredited lab. They do amazing work there at that lab. Actually, they're solving cold cases almost like a couple of times a week. They're solving 30, 40-year-old cold cases with DNA. They've been told working on a profile or developing the profile from the profile taken from the sheath. And at some point, they were told to halt their work, give it to the FBI, in which they did. This has not come out of a court filing that I can recall, but that's what we've been told had happened. And that may have been said in court. I'll have to go back and review. So that's what we know. Went to Orthram to develop. They began their process. Then they were told, stop your work. We're giving it to the FBI, in which they did. And then the FBI continued. Now, like Mercy said, because I've asked the same question, if it's the same IgG that we wanted or wondered why it wasn't used in Delphi, and if it's the same IgG that used to catch the Golden State Killer, and what's going on here? What's the big deal if it's a tool? Because it doesn't prove he did or didn't do anything. It just proves, here's a name, go check this person out. Oh, look, he was here, here, and here. He couldn't have been here, here, and here. Or actually, this doesn't even match his DNA, but it did match his DNA. So, is that still a problem? Then you got to have your evidence that your guy did it other than that DNA. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Um, I'm wondering now, like with Mercy, did they use it for more than just to making regular IgG determinations? You know what I mean?
IgG, you know me.
Like, I'm serious, because if you're trying to deep dive what the IgG means and how it's used and how it's
I
been
think I
used in the
think
past,
we need to have a DNA expert on here.
well, it's not that I understand the DNA. The problem is the FBI using IgG to get back to people to investigate. Is it too
Okay,
broad? What reason?
explain further. Explain further.
Like how they the problem with this case is the way they accessed the database to start with to find the people on the tree.
Okay, well go back
And
to
then
IgG. What exactly
that,
does IgG mean and why is it a problem?
because to me, it may not even be a problem, but it is a problem if they go too far. It's investigative genealogy, is what it is. So when they go in and start building, and CC, we'll have to do a CC more where she explains exactly the process she developed to create the backwards tree to get to the suspect. Or at the time, she was doing it to try to find parents, and family members. So when they work back and find the IgG, that's fine. You give me, there's two names, say there's two cousins, two brothers, whatever. Fine. Go investigate these 2, 3, 4 people. Fine. You start investigating them, you should be easily able to rule them out. Unless you collect one of their DNAs, even if it's on the sly, and they match the DNA you have from your crime scene. That places that person at your crime scene. Explain how it got there later, but for now, that explains that your person here is at the crime scene. Now what? Is that probable cause to get an arrest warrant, or do you need more? Because you can't, do you know what I'm saying? Because you're not supposed to go just
Right.
based off that damn
V
IgG.
V, do
So
you have to
confused.
identify V, do you have to identify yourself as law enforcement if you
Oh, she's
submit
commenting.
something? Yeah. It's a good comment. It's thought provoking. Do you have to identify yourself as law enforcement if you access
What the
that?
other, there's a few theories, and so the only Jed Match, CC says Jed Match is the only one. There, okay, so like 23andMe, Ancestry, all the others, you upload the DNA to it. GEDmatch, you don't upload the DNA to, but those other companies upload the profiles to, right? And that's how they form their matches throughout the multiple platforms. Now, did the FBI go in and secretly set up account as a private citizen and enter Koberger's, whose DNA, where did they start? Do you have to enter a DNA to start, or just some information? Because at the time they wouldn't have had dad's DNA yet, and they didn't have Koberger's DNA yet, except what came off that sheath. Did they upload a snippet of what came from the sheath? Because it had been said Koberger had made the comment to one of his uh, neighbors there. Have no confirmation of that. We know it was said. So did he actually upload his own DNA and they uploaded a sample and boom, we had a match? Or did they have to build a tree backwards? They retrofitted everything to match Brian. How? Because I'm so curious people to explain it to me. I feel like dropping her a link and like, come on up, girl. Here,
Yeah,
let's
for sure.
let's go to Joe's channel and drop a link so I can get my phone and go outside because I'm in the house and tied to this damn computer. Let me see. Let me read. Let me read for a second. They did access as law enforcement. They ran it as a citizen. That's illegal. Exactly. They don't provide receipt how they did it. That they said they destroyed everything. Prosecution doesn't even want to use it. Prosecution knows you can't use the IgG. It's a tool, investigative tool, kind of like your um, lie detector, your polygraph. You took one, but it's inadmissible at court, right? It's illegal to wiretap here in Florida. You can't call me and record my conversation and bring that shit to court. Oh, no, no. They retrofitted everything to match Brian, not the other way around. I don't. Did they retrofit? See, what did they retrofit? How did they get the DNA to plant? They're legit questions I want answered because I want to get behind something other than this dude flipped out, went in that house and did what he did. Because there's definitely a light colored sedan circling that house on Linda Lane footage. There's going to be some activity from colored sedan with some activity. There's DNA sheet on a sheath that needs to be explained. And fuck what, some wonky car footage around the area that we don't really know what shows, and some phone pings around the area. That's what we got. That's all we got. I mean, Jesus. I can't explain it well, especially when oh, that's right. I forgot you were sick, hun. I hope you feel better soon. Like they changed the car year after. Well,
Oh yeah,
that's just
there are a lot of questions. There are a lot
yeah.
of questions that I need answered for sure. And if I'm
I-
not on that jury, I am not voting guilty at this point in time based on the evidence that I know. But there's going to be
No,
more evidence presented,
even
right?
even as much as I go on about Linda Lane and knowing that's a white, well, I always said well, I almost was guilty and said white sedan. I mean light colored sedan. Even though I can see that is a light colored sedan circling, or what kind of car that is, but I can tell you what it's doing, and the times that it's doing it match what the PCA tells me it did. That don't mean the Koberger was in that car. Do you know what I mean? So, but that doesn't prove to me he went into the house. Proves to me his that sheath went in there with his DNA, but was the sheath in the car and the person in the car get dropped off and go inside and then get picked up and the car sped away at a high rate of speed? You tell me which rabbit hole we going down tonight. As many as he didn't do it at all, did it alone, or did it with someone. I don't know. I don't know. With that grainy footage at night like that, and some of that you can't believe all of that's grainy from around town. Around that's not here anymore, and I can't access the video. But he had a great video drive from Koberger's house, allegedly, according to PCA, over to King Road, and the amount of red lights to go through to get there, and the amount of cameras that were everywhere. They couldn't be all just shitty cameras, right? Um, so we don't know how good some of that footage is and how crappy some of it is. And plus, it was nighttime, so you can't really see as much as you would in daytime.
Yeah, the similarities with Delphi are just so amazingly striking to me because we have the Hoosier Harvester video of a car traveling east to west on County Road 300 North. And in court under oath, two law enforcement officers said, "We believe that was Rick Allen's car because we can see the light in the spokes. So it's a specific wheel type. So we believe that that's his car." But there's no proof of it. There's no video of a driver. You can't see the VIN, you can't see the license plate, you can't see the driver. All we can see
Well,
is light. All we can see is light shining through the spokes. So that's how we believe that's Rick Allen's car.
in Idaho, is FBI, and he is the car guy. And if you look at the 20, and those of us that were deep dive in this case, and I'm not saying V, you weren't, or anybody was, I don't know how long you guys have been into the case. Um, a long time ago, a lot of us deep dove stuff like that. You know, um, And the cars, going back to the cars from the 2013, 2014, 15, 16, 17, even, the years and the differences and the headlights and the tail lights and sunroofs versus not having sunroofs and fins and not having fins and different. I mean, I looked at so many Elantras that it was a crime. Just like I know too much about Idaho and where everything's at. But there's not a lot of differences. Um, Honestly, if you look at it and evaluate it fairly like that, and you put cars are moving and the video's slightly blurry, even with the leak Linda Lane footage, y'all can call that fake all you want, but it's not. I'll actually show a video explaining Linda Lane footage in a second. And you can't tell the car because as the car moves, there's what they call tracers. You know what I mean, Joe?
Yes. Yep.
Let me see something real quick. I haven't looked at this in a while, and I saw it the other day because I was actually looking for something else. And I was like, oh my God, I forgot about all this great content. Hold on. And you guys will probably recognize this. Let me pull it
Yeah,
up.
the similarities between the cases just like never end. Like it's one after another, after another, after another. But then there's the differences are also striking.
Yeah, I mean, like, what are the actual similarities? Is high profiles or media coverage? I mean, what makes them so
Video footage of cars. I mean,
still have questions?
yeah.
Or is that what makes them similar? That's what I'm asking. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, right now what we're doing is we are literally questioning the law enforcement investigation and the quality of the evidence, which is exactly what we did and are still doing in Delphi. Like
Mm-hmm.
how strong is the evidence? Is it beyond proof beyond a reasonable doubt?
Oh my God, where'd it go? Let's see.
Salty, you're going to have to explain who Kopaka is to me.
Okay, Brent Kopaka lived in Washington, right, in Pullman. And so, and do you remember when they get stopped in Indiana?
Yes.
Coburger and his dad, and Brian's like, we're headed for Thai food, and Dad's like, well, we're just leaving that big shooting over at the university. He was referring to the Kopaka incident. Kopaka allegedly goes crazy. We have the body cam footage of, I don't know if I still have it, but it's easy enough to find. When it finally got released. But anyway, he loses his shit one night. Basically, the guy has some PTSD. We have actually a couple of body cams of him. And anyway, so yeah, he barricades himself into the apartment that night, and he ends up letting the other roommates go. I'm just kind of summarizing. And at some point, there's a shootout, and he is killed by law enforcement. And then, of course, after that, the theory was it wasn't unalived, that it's witness protection. There's all kind of stuff, man. There's all kind of stuff. But literally, Kopaka was a man, from what we do know, and he was suffering from PTSD and had some issues there in town with the ex-girlfriend and her family, and drugs were involved. And yeah, he ended up.
And there's a potential link to the Idaho 4.
No, the only potential link is rumor.
Gotcha.
Rumor, because the case of Brent Kopaka is kind of weird. And the way and the timing that it happened, and that the fact that the father mentioned it during the pullover, right? And the Brent's apartments weren't far from Brian's, and that Rory went there and told the world how that's when Koberger stopped and got Kopacka before they ever went to King Road. Yeah. And then they got to King Road, and Kopacka may be the one who went in there using Brian's sheath. So if that's the case, I'm not saying. Let me just read. Let me read real quick because I want to make sure I'm not trying to make anybody mad. I'm being like legit. I got questions. So I need to look at the arrest and charges dropped at the time. Kobaka being killed. Okay, so if Kopacka was involved, and all you did was go by and pick up your friend because you don't sleep at night, out front, and you made a circle around those apartments and you drove back down to pick up your friend because he was only going to run in for a minute. So this didn't take that long, according to everything. Why not say that's what happened? Wasn't me. Kopacka was dead. Can't defend himself. You can't deny it. He was dead before the man ever left and went towards Pennsylvania. His dad knew about it. So why not just ever say that? So look, my knife was in my car. Keep it there for protection. He knew about it. When we pulled up, he grabs it and he runs in. See how I think? But hell, I don't know. He could be real dumbass and not even think about stuff like that. I don't know. I don't know.
I don't think Brian Koberger is a dumbass.
No, they did not say there. Where did you hear, V, that there was no blood of the victims? We heard there was single source male DNA from. So was there like blood on the leather part of the sheath from the victims? Because Maddie was laying back on it. I'm assuming it did have at least hers, if not some splatter from Kaylee, at least Maddie's. So, but the single source DNA came from the snap sheath. So, are y'all? Is that where you're getting that from? Because I've not seen that in a filing that there was no other DNA or no blood or anything like that. I've heard that on the internet, but I've not seen it in a filing. Just I know that that single source DNA was on that snap, and that's what matters. There has to be blood on that sheath. There's just no logical way that it doesn't. And if it doesn't, Houston, we got a fucking problem. And I think Ann would be screaming that from the rooftop, don't you, Joe?
Absolutely. But there are a lot of sealed documents still, right?
Damn it, yes. Too many. Too many sealed documents to the point we can't see anything. I don't know why I don't see Sleuthy's thing. For some reason, what I was looking for earlier is no longer. I don't like see it right now. That's really, really weird.
Well, just because we haven't seen any documents that say
Okay,
that
let
there
me
is
look at
other
this.
DNA on that sheath doesn't mean that there wasn't. It just means that they positively identified Koberger's DNA on it, and that's
Right.
the reason why they arrested him. So just saying that his was positive doesn't mean that it's negative for others.
Right, because you expect if they say if there was Maddie's blood on there, I'm sure they know that's Maddie's blood. Unless they're dumb like Delphi, but I don't think they're that dumb. The FBI was got there pretty quickly,
Oh
and
my
so did
God, you, you
Idaho.
went there.
Well, I can't help it. It's not because I can't.
No,
Delphi.
there's hair wrapped around the victim's fingers. Let's not
Yeah,
DNA
I
test
mean,
it.
come on. There's a
There's
lot. There's
there's
a lot. About Delphi, and I
uh,
know. I feel like that sometimes. I want to see it in the Idaho case, but I don't. I don't see it. I don't see a bunch of untested this, that, and the others. I don't see a lot of that. You know, so
I'm
I
going to
just
be
don't.
taking it. I'm going to be taking a trip back to Delphi in the very near future, very near within the next. What are we in the middle of January? In the next month and a half or so. So it'll if you have any ideas of what I should be like checking into there,
Um,
and obviously things are going to be changing a lot in the next month and a half, but I have some ideas of what I want to check things out. But if you have any ideas, let me know too.
okay,
That's
okay. Here,
what's crazy is we have the end of a trial, and we are still trying the case publicly because we're not satisfied at all. I mean, obviously the people who believe Richard Allen is guilty are satisfied, but the
uh,
rest of us are
there,
not. We're still not
there's.
convinced. I'm still not convinced one way or the other.
I'm hoping he gets a new trial at least to give us all a second shot at it to make that determination, because right now I think a lot of us feel, you know, um, no matter how you feel about the outcome of the trial, I mean, whether you're on the fence or whether you are believing his innocence, you absolutely know that was everything about that trial was wrong, right? We know that. So if they can get something going where we can get a mistrial, I don't know if we can get a new trial or if it just has to be some shit done on appeal. Either way, I feel like all I can do is wait. I mean, I feel like, trying to make enough much right now, and it's so, I retweet certain people, and I just don't know what to do about it right now. It's like I gotta process all that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
hard to explain.
V, if yes, the normal way to wear a knife sheath is to put your belt through it and put it through your belt loops so it's like permanently attached. But it's possible if you have that knife in a sheath in your car and you're not 100% sure that you're going to go through with what you have in mind to do, you have it laying in your car that when you decide to finally go through with it, like I'm circling, I'm not sure I'm going to do it. Okay, I've got the balls to do it. I'm going to park right here in the next to the apartments above to the south of the building. You grab that sheath and you stick it in your pants, like behind it or on the side or in front, kind of like you do with like we see in the movies, with you stick a gun in your pants, and that's not a smart thing to do in real life, but it's a knife, it's not a gun. So you pick up that knife and you pick up that sheath, and you don't, because you're in the spur of the moment, you don't wrap your belt through it. You don't put your belt through it and permanently attach to your pants. You just kind of like stick it in the waistband of your pants. Like, I'm just theorizing. I'm just like speculating. I'm throwing something out there as an answer to your question. You don't necessarily, especially if you're just kind of driving around trying to get up the nerve to do what you have in mind to do.
Well, how many of you have seen a pair of Dickies overalls?
I've worn them.
They have deep
I haven't just
pockets.
I haven't just worn them. Or seen them. I've worn them.
They have deep. Uh-oh, can you guys hear me?
You skipped out there for about 10
Oh,
seconds.
I said, do they have deep pockets on the sides where you would put your hands in?
It, it depends on the model. Some of them do, some of them don't, but most
Mm,
of them do.
yeah, most of them do. So if you have one of those on, you wouldn't need to connect your sheath to anything. It's going to be real easy to get to it and quickly if it's right there in your pocket. And that might be how it accidentally gets left on the bed, because things might have got real sideways real fast when one of them woke up when you didn't expect it. And if
Right.
that
And
happened, yeah,
you're
if
not gonna
that
want to
happened,
stick the knife. You're not gonna want to stick that knife in the pocket without the sheath. So you put it in the pocket with the sheath. You pull them both
my
out,
thought
and then you, yeah,
my thought pattern is I got to get the hell up out of here. I didn't mean to do what I just did. I meant to do one thing I just did, but I didn't mean to do that. Now I got to go because that probably made a lot of noise. I got to get the hell out of here. Boom. But when you got downstairs, you were confronted with other things, other people. You know, what if you didn't realize you even left that damn thing until you got in your car and I don't know, got halfway home or shit all the way home? I don't know when you would notice. I don't know when
V
you would try.
Dylan wasn't looking down at his hands. Like if you
Oh,
were
that's what
carrying
we
out the knife, if you're carrying out the knife without the sheath, you have it down at your side so you
Mm-hmm.
don't like stab yourself or somebody else. So
Okay, Mr.
Dylan
Steve. Yeah.
Dylan's not looking down at his hands. She's looking at his eyes to see if she knows who he is.
I was breaking up. Can you hear me?
Yes, you're back now.
Okay. So, Mr. Steve, from True Crime Web, I have to find it. He does a really great model in his basement, and the way he sets everything up, he kind of like he does a dummy of what Koberger's size would have been, and he puts like there's a door where Dylan's door would have been and what she would have seen. He tells you about the lighting that he used and how and why. What would she have seen coming toward her? Lo and behold, the only thing this bitch or this girl would have seen was like the parts of the face, like eyebrows and eyes. Especially if there's no mask, you wouldn't have seen nothing else. But Joe's right. If they're holding the knife a certain way, he could have held it. If they're walking through there with this knife turned upwards with the blade facing away from their own body, no one's going to see it. And I'll show you, let me show you something really quick. I'll pull this up and I'm going to try to, let me get it to where it makes sense first where we're at. Okay. Let me go back in here, turn around. Okay. Do you guys, I don't know if you were you guys around during the intro and saw the video. Two things on the wall. You can see the painting and you can see the good vibes sign, right? You can see them in the background. If you turn that off, let me see if they got it set. I don't know. Uh-oh, I may have just messed it up. Okay. Yeah. So I don't know if we could turn off Xana's that hallway light or not, but that is Xana's bedroom down there. There's the hallway. So you're like right here basically. See that arrow? That's Dylan's bedroom. And that door is cracked as if Dylan's standing on the other side of that door, where that door cracked and has it open where she could see out looking this direction. So if that light is the only thing on and this fella comes down the hallway and he makes it around the corner because he just left Santa's room and he comes back through here and he walks past that light, is it going to let me do anything? Yeah. See, there's her door barely open. That's the stairs leading up to Kaylee and Maddie. And if you're looking out at her door, the light is still off, but there's the entry to the living room. So let's try to get the light back on so I can figure this shit out so I can see. But you guys get what I'm saying?
That's what she said. No, she didn't with the
No,
light on.
look, there's a light on. Okay, turn that thing off. But so if you go back out there, so what do you think? If he's coming around this area, you're looking out at her door right now, and it's dark. Okay, so yeah, it makes you see a different part of the room. I
The,
don't like that.
the
That's
light is behind him, not in front of him. How does she see the bushy eyebrows?
well, if he's walking, hey, I'm like trapped in the bedroom now. I can't get out. Hold
Oh, I'm
on.
getting seasick. Oh my God. Oh my
Hold
God.
on. Let me out of here. Out to hallway. Yay. Damn. Okay. Um, because all right, here I'll try to go slow. If we are at Dylan's store looking out, right? 'Cause there's that damn door. It's cracked. And she's looking out. If he's coming around and that's the only light on as he's passing through the light waves, would it show enough glare to only see bushy eyebrows? Do you know what I mean? I don't know. But Steve showed that it would. And I was like, if you can go check out, find, scroll through to you find his video. But we need to get it up here one night and look at it as we're going through this case, because I think I was floored by the way, because I love it when Steve gets all technical and we do, I say we, as a community, will do like uh, testing on ballistics. Like we did the ballistics testing in the Delphi case. We buried bullets. He buried bullets on his property, different times, different stages, left for different lengths of time to see what would happen to the bullet after being buried.
What
How
a
it would change.
nerd. What a
Yeah,
nerd.
how it would
Like
change,
me.
right. How's it, and he's an ex-cop, so CSI guy, and how
Oh,
that's
that's
going to
awesome.
change. Yeah, how's that going to change the composite makeup, all the things. So he tried to do his replica using the light, and he gets technical with the light feed. I'm not even going to attempt to go there. I don't even know if I can understand everything he was telling me, but he's the one that went to Delphi as well and went down there with his wife, and they did some phone ping testing and told me that it was just erratic, and we had issues when Joe was down there of the in and out, losing Joe here and there, and Mr. Steve told me it would have him in one place, his wife in another, when that wasn't the case. So I've always known there was a lot of phone issues in the Delphi situation. So different, yeah, but he's a cool guy. But I don't know if you guys have ever seen this layout, because if you go this way, there's your back door where people believe he may have made entry, and there's this weird wall here that if you actually come in that slider, you're not really going to see a person do that until they walk around the edge here of the stove, and this part right here. It's like at an angle through here. It's really, really weird. And then you go up the stairs. You can just walk in, slip right up to the girls' bedrooms, two of the girls' bedrooms. And that appears to be what happened according to the PCA. I don't know. Obviously, that is what happened. Um, didn't go here first, didn't go here at all. That was Dylan's room. Did this perpetrator come back down the stairs thinking, I need to get up out of here and run into, I don't know, Xana coming out of there from her room with her DoorDash to the kitchen? Why would Dylan hear someone say, hey, somebody's here? And then why would she hear somebody say, don't worry, I'm here to help you? She didn't hear that as screams. Like if I'm Xana and I'm coming out of my bedroom and my boyfriend's in there half asleep as usual, and I'm coming out, look, there's the bloody footprint they found of the latent shoe print location in front of Dylan's door. So if I'm Xana and I'm coming around the bend here, and I'm here, and boom, there's terrifying dude. I'm about to scream bloody murder, and I'm going to turn around and scream somebody's here and run. And let me ask you a question. If you guys saw the intro, if you didn't, go back and watch it. Watch all the CSI activity going on in this room right here through the zoom lens of the local news media. And there's a lot of activity going on in there. Did someone just run through there with bloody feet print? Yeah, could have, probably did. But it appears there's way more going on, especially down here on the floor. And so if you're Xana and you see this freak, no matter who that may be, are you going to scream? I mean, you're going to scream, right?
Or it could be a nightmare where you want to scream and you can't.
Knowing what I know about Xana, I think she's fixing to let it go. Something she's fixing. I could see her. I could hear her saying someone's here. I can't hear her whispering it or saying it low enough. If Dylan's over there hiding behind that door and it's cracked, how the hell is she casually hearing? All right, okay, say he come down the stairs and he didn't appear bloody, and he didn't appear to be holding a knife in Xana's eyes. He appeared to be some random dude coming down the stairs, and she says, "Oh, someone's here." Is that what old girl heard? Oh, someone's here. Okay, Xana didn't think anything about it. Did Xana follow him into the kitchen to put her shit up? Where did the phrase, "Don't worry, I'm here to help you," come in at, and why? No, it's hard to believe they got quietly killed. Quiet. Now, I can see the girls upstairs, and I'll tell you why. If you go up there, the roommates pretending to be each other. Oh, they have photos of that? Oh, there's a video out of that. They probably have that on the wall. Okay, so if you go up to the top, there's 2 bedrooms. One's Kaylee and one is Maddie, and then there's a bathroom. So Maddie has a small room, but all right, so you come to the top, you have to come up the stairs and then up again, right? So you're up there. This would be Kaylee's room. And Kaylee had a sliding door here. And that was, she had the larger of the bedrooms. And then across from her bedroom was the bathroom. If it lets me go. We don't want to be in the bathroom. There's nothing special about the bathroom. But if we go out here, I'm going to go show you how little and tiny Maddie's room really is. We go in here. Now the PCA says, see this window right here? Watch. Now mind you, for those of you still listening, the back here in the back is that back parking lot of that Queen Road Apartments where you can park and watch this back of the house and see this window at all times. And there's the view from the back of the house, right? Up here's Maddie's room. The photo shows the window of bedroom 3A above with the balcony. This is Madison's bedroom, where is where Madison and Kaylee were found. The photo also shows the window of bedroom 2A, DM's. Now down here on the bottom is Dylan Mortenson's bedroom. Notice how close to the ground that window really is. If the window was slid open, whoops, because it's a slider of a window. If it was slid open, a tall person could step right in and step
Not
right
even
out.
a tall person, just an average person.
Yeah, buddy. Okay.
So tell me about the ladder, because the theory is that he entered in through the sliding doors on the balcony through the
No,
kitchen, right?
you didn't need to get to. We'll show you the kitchen. You did not need to get to the kitchen sliders on the second floor. You did not need a ladder. I'll show you.
Okay.
This is Maddie's bedroom. Remember, we're inside of her room looking around right now. Everybody knew it was Maddie's room. There was pink boots, her favorite pink cowboy boots. This was her pink M in the window. And so we're in Maddie's room. She had a little closet right here.
As I entered this bedroom, I could see two females in the single bed in the room. Both Goncalves and Mogan were deceased with visible stab wounds. I also later noticed what appeared to be a tan leather knife sheath laying on the bed next to Mogan's right side, when viewed from the door. The sheath was later processed and had K-Bar, USMC, and the United States Marine Corps Eagle Globe and anchor insignia stamped on the outside of it. The Idaho State Lab later located a single source of male DNA, left on the button snap of the knife sheath.
Isn't that crazy to have this? Okay, so if we can zoom out, Maddie's bed was here, and there was a nightstand here. And if you turned around, there was literally a little dressing table here, and her door is right there. And can I get in there any smaller? Let's see.
You are so familiar with this room. I think you might be the guilty person. I think you framed Rand Koberger.
Yeah, I might be. We see that for some reason there's a cutout right here. Okay, yeah, this wall here. There was a table and mirror situation going on right here. All this was blank wall, and if you open that door, it would swing out against the wall. We have a picture after the FBI went in and they took the board off the windows, and they went in to do their Faro scans, the latest ones they did, the very last ones. You could see a large cutout in Maddie's wall that was gone. Like a whole piece of the wall was gone. It was crazy.
The drywall.
Yeah. This was a very tiny room. So say Kaylee, some believe Kaylee was in the room on the bed. The girls were talking. They were trying to call Jack, blah, blah, blah. They're drunk. They're full now. They walked Murphy. Murphy's good. He's wandering around. They passed out on the bed. No big deal. Did he walk in and just quickly do what he needed to do to Maddie, which startled Kaylee and woke her up, and then he got really got really destructive with her because we heard her wounds were worse. Stand here. What the hell for? Was something going to happen and scare me? Gives you the better view. Okay. But see, yeah, there was something like a pattern on, there was something about this wall that was cut the hell out. So there's not a lot of room, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, did she walk in on something and get the brunt of things here and get thrown over onto the bed, or was she already in here? We don't know. The PCA and the parents believe that she was already in that room. But when the police got there, they found her dog in her room over here with the door shut. So
but you have to believe that drywall piece is missing because there was probably blood spatter on it, right?
Had to be blood spatter or a calling card or something.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? But one time when they had this out a long time ago, me and a couple of friends of mine, we didn't know what to think about this case yet. The timeline was a huge factor. What's really happening here? So we came in. We just, of course, this is junk science. Do not take this for real. Try this on your own. I'll have to drop this link in my comments or my post on my community tab for you guys, so you can have it for yourself. And I want you to test it and legit test it, and then tell me to the best of your ability what you honestly think. So we were out here and we were standing over here, and we were like, okay, well, let me get in here and show you. All right, so we came in and we got as close to the back door as we could get. And you have to go by the PCA and remember what time the car was seen on the Linda Lane footage. What time was that car seen on the back coming around those apartments? It was at 4:08. So say at 4:08 the lights went out, the car parked. How long will it take this dude to park the car, whoever it may be, park the car, get out, walk across the back, come in through that slider? How long do you think that would take? 4 minutes, 5 minutes? So you take that into account. So we were doing it like that. And then we were like, okay, we're at the back door. We're in the back door. Now what do? We need to get up to those stairs as quickly as possible. So we start doing that, and we're timing it every step of the way, right? So we get upstairs, all the way upstairs. We get to Maddie's room. We stop for a minute. We're like, okay, let's just pretend stuff's happening. And we gave it a few minutes and we timed it. We're like, okay, let's go back downstairs. We got all the way back to the top right there. We came down, and when we stopped right there, I said, what time is it? And my friend said 4:12. And I looked at, I didn't look at her, kind of funny. We were in here. I just had this strange look on my face, and I said out loud, I said, tick-tock. Remember when the PCA says Xana was awake and the phone was active at 4:12 on TikTok? I was like, whoa. Did that mean he came down at close to 4:12 and then their encounter happened? I don't know. So could it happen with that amount of time? Is what I'm getting at. I would like for you all to test it and let me know what you think for real. I could be totally way off. But I gave it legit time, trying to be fair, as well as fair as I could be, I guess. Well, I don't know. Knowing the layout of the house wouldn't have been too hard for someone that's smart. When this crime first occurred, do you know how many of us had the layout of that house in no time, record time? It's out there for everybody to see. So if you were stalking somebody, unfortunately, it's a good place to go. Look at that. You can get virtual tours in a lot of places these days on real estate websites. So just keep that in mind.
This is a really good graphic animation, though. Like,
it really is. It's awesome.
Yeah.
And you can look over here and
Officer Smith and I entered the King Road residence through the bottom floor door on the north side of the building. Officer Smith and I then walked upstairs to the second floor. Officer Smith directed me down the hallway to the west bedroom on the second floor, which I later learned, through Xana's driver's license and other personal belongings found in the room, was Xana Kernodle's room. Just before this room, there was a bathroom door on the south wall of the hallway. As I approached the room, I could see a body, later identified as Kernodle's, laying on the floor. Kernodle was deceased with wounds which appeared to have been caused by an edged weapon. Also in the room was a male, later identified as Ethan Chapin. Chapin was also deceased with wounds later determined to be caused by sharp force injuries.
It's a really good piece. I will drop the link over on the community tab to the YouTube channel. Let's see. Look at the comments for a second.
Do we know what kind of vehicle the DoorDash driver was driving?
We don't know much about the DoorDash driver yet. There was a couple of people who claim they do and did but don't. But What we do know is there's been a lot of speculation about the DoorDash driver for a very long time, and I've heard all the things of how it could possibly be the DoorDash driver, but I'm here to tell you DoorDash itself knows exactly who dropped off that DoorDash order, exactly what time and how it was dropped off, and they know who placed the order and from what device it was placed from. Because I've heard the speculation that it was not really Xana who placed the order. It was somebody else that placed the order to make it look like they needed a DoorDash order delivered there. It was part of the setup, the plan, the whatever. But regardless, they would know. There's record of that. Even if it came from Xana's phone, somebody accessed it at a certain time, placed the order, how they paid, all these things would be taken into account. They would have had to have done it directly from Xana's phone, using Xana's account and everything to make it appear that it was done right then and there from her phone and nothing else. But it's just, so I think there's a lot of ways they can detect stuff like that that they probably did detect if it was there. So I don't know.
Right. Well, V brought up a point that is considerable up for consideration. What if that light sedan that was caught on all of those video cameras driving around the block was the DoorDash driver looking for that address?
Well, it could have been, and I considered that considering the time, right? Here's the thing. If you are a common DoorDash driver to the area, and they said Xana's friends were on like Dateline, 48 Hours, whatever it was. Xana was a chronic DoorDash orderer. Like it was her thing. It was like Xana. So I got to thinking, well, if Xana ordered a lot, there's probably only a handful or so many DoorDash drivers at a time in a small town between Pullman, Washington, and Moscow. They kind of share there, and it's a 12, 15-mile difference. So was it a person that was common to deliver? If it was, they would know the address. They'd know better, right? They would know, oh yeah, I know what that means. Or they might have gotten confused and needed to turn around.
Well,
but I think they would have
so the
clarified
house,
that, but that doesn't mean the cops would have.
But the house was really on Queen Road, even though it had a King Road address, right?
Right. That's what I'm saying. But even a normal, if you were a routine DoorDash delivery driver to that particular residence, you're going to know when you see 1122 Queen Road that it really means 122 King Road, right? You're going to know that.
Nope. So here's the thing
I
that
would.
actually you would, yes, but I lived at an address in Lafayette that was on a dead-end street that only had 2 houses on it. And I ordered from DoorDash, Uber Eats, Instacart all the time. And there was probably a 25% miss rate on them finding the house, even though the app showed exactly where the house was. And they literally would deliver it to the wrong address 20 to 25% of the time. So in other words, there were new drivers that would get assigned that address and would not be able to find the house because it's on a dead-end street. And for some reason, their app would not show them the correct location of the house.
Well, that happens a lot. But that's what I meant by saying if it's a normal, usual person, right? Not like a new person or a random person or someone who barely does it. But if it was somebody who did it a lot and delivered to that location a lot, say to Xana, in the middle of the night, they said she ordered it at all hours of the night. So you have to consider that. If you got a girl ordering DoorDash all hours of the night, you probably got the same 3-4 drivers that work that shift, right? And they would know. That's how I know, because I DoorDashed. I'm going to know that because I delivered there a lot. And if I don't deliver there a lot, I'm not going to fucking know. I'm going to run around in a circle and get pissed and call you. That's the way that's about to roll. You know what I mean? I have to call you now or text you and say, look, what am I doing here? You know? So it could have been the DoorDash driver, but they would have clarified that when they talked to the police. But that doesn't mean the police would have come out and clarified to us, right? Do you know what I'm saying?
Right. I'm more concerned about what kind of car the DoorDash driver was driving. Was he driving a white colored sedan, he or she?
We don't know yet. We haven't had any leaked video of that yet. Shit. Let me
So
look.
how can we have leaked video of potentially Brian Koberger's car, but we don't have the DoorDash car at the exact same time? For real?
No, because the DoorDash car, okay.
I'm getting highly suspicious here. V is like
According, no.
she's
According, the you got two cars involved. The PCA tells you got two cars involved. You got the DoorDash delivery at 4 a.m. ish, right? You
right.
got the passes starting at 3:57. But you also
Of
got
which
the
of what car? Of what car?
what they claim is the Koberger car.
Why don't we have passes of the DoorDash car?
They claim it didn't. Oh, I'm trying to tell you. We don't. They did not claim we got Linda Lane footage in the damn PCA. That footage got leaked later, and I don't see Sleuthie's damn video of Linda Lane explained. I need her to come on and explain it to people because it's going to aggravate me. It really
V
is. She's part of
V
it.
is starting to give me a lot of things to think about in this.
So anyway,
V-
I don't want to lose my train of thought. Damn it.
Okay. Okay. Sorry.
Shit. It was about the Linda Lane footage stuff. We don't know. Okay, so there's two cars, right? But all we do know, according to the PCA, is at 4 a.m. there was a DoorDash delivery. But at 4:06, the suspect vehicle 1 car came through. Does that mean that they passed each other at some point right there in front on King Road? At some point, did they see each other? Did the DoorDash driver see the white or suspect vehicle 1? We're talking 4 a.m., 4:06, but it doesn't clearly say 4 a.m. It says like 4 a.m. ish, like whatever it says. So, but then Linda Lane, it doesn't say it, and we also have this footage on Linda Lane. Linda Lane was leaked later. But it matched what the PCA said the suspect vehicle 1 car was doing, because there's also apparently cameras, on Walenta Road that runs the opposite direction.
Right. So but who leaked it? And if they selectively leaked footage of a white sedan that kind of looks like Brian Koberger's, why don't we have leaked footage of the DoorDash car? Why did they just
the
leak one?
DoorDash? Okay, because if the DoorDash wasn't lost, the DoorDash had no need to go back there like suspect vehicle 1 did.
Oh, no, but what was the apartment building that's right to the left of?
We don't have that footage leaked of one run.
Exactly. Why not? Why did they just selectively?
Because they didn't sell it. They didn't sell it like the owner of Linda Lane did for $1,000 to a person on the YouTube. Okay.
You know what? They could now. It might actually be worth more than $1,000.
I'm telling you, Sleuthy. I'm looking. I swear, the other night the damn video was there. I looked, and now I don't see it. Because it was
you got me really thinking about this case.
Oh wait.
Like,
here we go. Hold on a minute. Hold on a second. Right. Let me back this shit up. Hold on.
Beep, beep, beep.
Beep, 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 beep. Hope you guys got a few minutes. We're going to watch a little sleep. Let me. Joe, will you drop Sleuthy's channel link down there? She doesn't go live a lot, guys, or make a lot of videos, but when she does. She's a girl. So this is one of her videos about the Linda Lane footage. I haven't seen it in a long time, so I got to refresh myself on what's there. I'm going to let this play for a few minutes, okay? We're good. Let me know if you can hear it. Let me get it to go and get my screen going. Present.
And while I don't think right now that it's necessary to like put out this person's name and shit, and I did redact a bunch of stuff. I literally just I've
Sorry, I'm like, I'm going to go too far, not go far enough. Hold on.
Her link is dropped in the chat.
Okay, cool. Thank you, guys. There's Sleuthies. If you haven't subbed up to her yet. What did I do? Do I got to take it off screen again like usual?
Yeah, I think so.
Does it every time. All right, let me fix it real quick. Okay. Here we go. All right, this might help you guys understand a little bit about that Linda Lane footage that got leaked, okay? Here we go.
we are still no, everybody's going to be able to go to bed soon. I literally just I've been seeing so much confusion about the Linda Lane footage. I'm like totally over it. And while I don't think right now that it's necessary to like put out this person's name and shit, and I did redact a bunch of stuff. Not a bunch of stuff, like 3 things, because like a phone number's in there and shit, and it's just not necessary. But I do think it's necessary at this point just to kind of Tyler, I don't know how there's still confusion. I mean, I think there's still confusion because there's some weirdness going on. Some people not wanting to, I don't know. Like, I know there's people saying that they bought the footage that really didn't buy the footage. And like, so it's just the whole thing's kind of crazy. I'm going to take my medicine and hopefully it'll kick in by the time this is done and over with. I didn't really want to read it. I don't think we'll have to chat really. Melissa, I'm glad that the Twitter space helped clarify. I actually found out kind of like more after. So like after that Twitter space, I confronted this person and I was like, what the fuck is going on? Why? Like, did you send this to a bunch of people? Like, I don't understand how these people even all, because at that point, like multiple people were like, I got the footage, I got the footage, I got the footage, I got the footage. And I was like, dude, people that are scared of shit don't send footage all over the fucking place. You just don't do that. And so essentially, I'm going to show these. I hope that it clears up where it came from in terms of when it was sent to me, which from what I understand was before it was sent to everybody else, and before it appeared on YouTube. And so that you can get kind of the idea of where I was coming from in that Twitter space when I was, and at that point I still was like trusting this person. I mean, I was fucking furious that this person, and you'll see how they were talking to me. Exactly, Melissa. Melissa said, that's what I figured. I knew you were being honest, but I don't think she was being honest with you. And that's exactly what happened. And it's not necessary to like show me confronting her. I don't want to, it's not about like drama. It's just kind of, I'm just trying to fill in the blanks for everybody. But I was fucking furious at the thought that this person was talking to me the way that they were and how scared they were. And you'll see why. And then the thought that someone leaked it onto YouTube really just angered me big time. So I'm over the being angry phase. I think it's clear. I don't know if the intention was to like get me to leak it or whatever, which obviously they got me fucked up because I don't do that. But you'll see here, at least just until I'm going to show you through, like, from the day I was contacted. And it wasn't like the first time I had ever spoken to this person. The day I was contacted, and then through to like the day that it appeared on YouTube. What a web of lies we weave when we practice to deceive. And that's exactly right. So, but I keep everything. If you talk to me, don't try deleting shit afterwards, because I'm going to show everybody what we both said. Like I said, I did redact like my real name, and I cut I cut off the top of her. Like, you can't see what Twitter account I was talking to. And redacted like her name and her phone number and stuff. So let's see if this will work. Can you see that? I don't know if I should read it or if I should just sit here quietly and let you all read it, and then just make everybody put like ones when you're ready for me to click to the next page, or what. My concern is that some dumbass is somehow, like, I don't trust any of these people involved with this at this point. So like, my concern is that my voice in reading these messages is somehow going to like appear somewhere as if I'm saying them on the phone. But if you guys think that's not an issue, then I'll just read it. Fine. Lord, I hope I did redact everything. So, and I can give you a little bit of context here. So this was when I was not into, I thought about using AI, but I'm not going to. There was no time. I just want to like get this done. And I literally want to put my head on the pillow and go to sleep. But when I was intending on having you all read it, I basically said everything I just said to you guys, giving you directions to read left to right. The pink is me. And the gray is this person that messaged me. And so they asked me if I had ever spoke to Sarah Azari. I said, yeah, why? What's up? They said, I have all the security footage and it completely exonerates Koberger. Both murders are on there. The police have it, and I am scared and don't know what to do with it. I bought it from a neighbor. So I said, do you want me to forward it to her? And they said, oh, it's 24-hour footage. I said, that's crazy they had you buy it. I wouldn't trust just sending it to police, that's for sure. And she said, people will sell anything for the right price. The killer's name is Charlie. Okay. Lord have mercy. We're going to have to make this bigger. I can't.
So like the whole thing is the owner of the Linda Lane apartments here, his name is Kane. Kane sold it to this woman here communicating with Sleuthy, and she paid him like $1,000 for the footage. But the PCA refers to footage that also picks up audio 50 feet from the house. That's not this camera. It's way further. There's too many of us that got on the maps, and we have measured how far, because Queen Road apartments are here, house is over here, like 150 feet or whatever. But 1122, the house to the left that sees the corner, the intersection of King and Queen, every person walking, every car coming and going, including the DoorDash driver, including the suspect vehicle 1 car. That same camera, if you look at the times though, from the leaked footage of the Linda Lane, which we have that as well, this says 406 right here. I think I can see that. Well, that car is going to come back here at 408. That's after, say, let me pull up a map, because it's not going to, you know what, they took the house and blurred it out so long ago. Let me just show you.
Okay, but answer me this.
Go ahead.
Do we have footage that shows that suspect 1 vehicle is a different vehicle than the DoorDash vehicle? Do we have video evidence of 2 different vehicles
No.
going there?
No.
So V has a very valid point. Like, my mind is reeling right now at the possibility that actually was the DoorDash driver that was having a hard time finding that address.
It could have been. A lot of people have tried, including Sleuthy. She has an amazing video out about the DoorDash driver. There's another content creator that I'm talking to about coming on who also has some theories on this DoorDash driver. I've been down a lot of DoorDash driver rabbit holes. I don't know. There's no other footage, right? We don't even, I'm telling you, that leaked footage is not the footage used in the PCA. The police have not acknowledged that Linda Lane footage. All right. But the timestamps of the car matches what the PCA says the camera sees at 1122. Could it still be the DoorDash driver? Yes. Coming through at 4. But if the car's lost, they say the delivery was at 4. If that driver drops that food off at 4, he's not lost back there at 408, 406, 405. You watched that footage with me, right? And saw the different times of the car.
Yes.
Right. So if the timing wise, because the DoorDash driver can tell them all day long whatever he wants to tell them, but that app is going to tell them otherwise. I'm here to tell you, when he drops that food off at that house, whether it's to the person itself or to the front door, he has to hit submit drop off or complete drop off in order to get paid out for that delivery. So
right. But is there potentially a timestamp difference like the Hoosier Harvest Store?
Well, I don't know. I'm telling you how DoorDash works. So if
they I get it.
When they did the DoorDash, when they did the DoorDash warrant and got the DoorDash information, they know what time that supposedly that order got dropped off. If it got dropped off at 4 a.m., 4:01, 4:02, whatever the time was when the phone confirmed that drop off, then that's not the same car back there at 4:05, 4:06, and 4:08.
Correct. Unless he dropped it off and then he drove around the block trying to get out, and then he drove out the other way.
Could have.
I want to see 2 different vehicles on video that are different from suspect 1 and DoorDash. That's what I want to see.
In court, you would hope that in court they play what they referenced in the PCA, which is 1122. That's got to be it, because it's 50 feet from the home, and it picks up audio of a thud and a dog barking around and then it also hears the car speed away at 420 at a high rate of speed. How do they know that? They hear it on camera, going down the road, peeling out, and then it.
How did they know she didn't drop her General Tso's chicken?
I don't know. She had carbonaro. Get it straight. we had Kaylee had carbonaro. Damn it. We don't.
And damn it, V, you like introduce new things to my mind that are like blowing my mind. Like I had completely forgotten about. Yeah.
having to look down and look. There's those low, low mountains. I want to. Hmm.
There's so
We'll
many
be,
rabbit holes. There are so
well,
many
we'll be
rabbit holes.
going there soon enough. Do we know the timestamps are correct? I don't. I don't know anything. I'm unfortunately, I'm just saying, even with the DoorDash driver, there's been a lot of rabbit holes. It's crazy because a lot of them I tried to get behind and understand that, yeah, that could have happened. But knowing what I know about DoorDash and how it operates and what I've seen here, they've there's nothing to say that I don't know. And if it is the DoorDash driver's car, would the cops come out and tell us, hey, that car y'all see driving around there around the house, that's the DoorDash driver's car. It's no count. And
Not if they're trying to frame Brian Koberger. They're not going to tell you that.
what are they going to? I always go back to that question: why him? Out of all the randos there in town and
Why?
over there,
Why Richard Allen? Why him? Why
I don't
Richard Allen?
know.
Why?
Because Richard Allen was like the perfect patsy. The dude said he
No,
was
he wasn't. No, he
there.
wasn't.
No,
No,
I mean
no,
in
he.
their mind, not Lord, in their warped mind, when they went back through their stupid little tips and found tips. You know what? This guy says he was there, and he kind of fits the description a little bit of that bridge dude. Let's go get this guy.
Right.
But what is it about Brian Koberger? He didn't call him up and say, "Hey, I was driving around that house that night. You catch me if you can."
Hmm.
I don't.
No,
I've,
there were no lead sheets hidden in a drawer for Brian Koberger for
You know,
sure.
I've heard the alternate theory on the parallel investigation that he was probably working with the agents on that, and he's. I've heard
That
it all.
doesn't make sense to me. That doesn't track with me at all. That does not track with me one little bit.
Right, so I always go back to why Koberger. Is he a threat to who? He couldn't even get a job at the Pullman Police Department.
He couldn't keep his position as a graduate student
Right,
at
he was not doing
WSU.
well. He wasn't doing well at his teaching job. Let's not talk about that, though. For some reason, he's the only defendant in America we cannot talk about, but I'm talking about him.
Yeah,
But
we're talking about.
you're right. He, wasn't going well, and he was gotten in trouble there. So there were some things unfortunate happening in the man's life. Um,
And have been since high school.
have been since high school. So I still wonder why that dude of all the people to frame. Jesus, you could have framed one of them ridiculous frat boys. So easy.
Okay, well, if you're framing,
And
if
first of
if
all,
you're
why
going
would you need to? I mean, because of an
right, exactly,
election?
yeah. If you're unaliving 4 college students at the University of Idaho, which is crazy to think about, why are you framing somebody from WSU? I mean, who is? The question is, who is it then? If it's
Who?
not him, who is it?
Who is they? I'm
Yeah,
always asking, who is they? They're
yes.
like, they this, they that. Who the hell is they? I need to be far away from they as I can get.
Like at least in Delphi, we have the Odinist angle. We have the Vinlanders.
Yeah,
We
I'm
have
staying
Brad
away from
Weber.
they. I'm sorry for all those who go by that. Well, I'm not meaning nothing. I'm
No,
just not.
in
Mm,
Delphi, we have Brad Weber, we have Brad Holder, we have Logan Holder. I mean, we have Elvis Fields. I mean, we have legitimate third-party suspects in Delphi. What legitimate third-party suspects do we have here?
none yet. Anne hasn't mentioned any yet. She mentioned one time the 3 unknown male DNAs. But I'm assuming at some point she got her answer about said DNAs because she hasn't brought them up yet. Not even emotions to suppress. She's wanting to suppress the information against Brian. You know what I mean? But not She hasn't brought that up again for some reason. Yeah, I've heard the drug connections, the frats. I've got the whole layout in my DM. I could probably tell you. Suppose it was to do with the frats. They won't. It could be. I mean, there's a lot of bank accounts involved. I'll give you that. There's um, that's about all I can say. Really, is I don't understand that, and I will say that forever. I don't get the kids of that age, and that nature, and that stage of life needing that many. I know Kaylee's dad has tried to explain it with, and I get it with the different loans, and you got multiple things. I get it. So even with your crypto stuff, I guess kids today will have 4 or 5 bank accounts. I don't know. There's a lot of them there. But you know, I've heard the crypto money laundering. I've heard the drug connection. I've heard these are the things we've heard, but Anne hasn't brought any of that out in a court filing. And trust me, there were a lot of people in the beginning of this case that made no secret about the fact they were emailing the defense all this information. And we just heard the defense in Delphi talk about all the information they've been receiving from social media on these third-party suspects that they needed, right? So whatever. Go ahead.
If there's a third party suspect in the Idaho 4, I want to hear the theory of besides just drugs, frats, crypto. I want to know why it makes sense to go and brutally murder 4 college students in a house like that. It doesn't make sense to me, so I need to hear that theory explained.
Yeah, you're right, V. She does need to just say it wasn't Brian, but she's pretty much admitted that's her client's DNA on that sheath. How you going to get around it if you can't get that thrown out? If you can't get that DNA thrown out for her various reasons, it's staying in. Well, what are you going to do?
Right. And there's a difference between the jury that sits in that room and the social media jury, as we saw in Delphi, because
oh Lord, right?
The social media in Delphi was predominantly the state hasn't proven their case.
Honey, the prosecution wants the sheath in, but it's the DNA from the IgG that they're talking about, not the DNA from the sheath. That's different. They're not supposed to bring in that IgG to court as an evidentiary thing. It's literally used as a tool. So that's the problem right now, that even like the tweet I was reading earlier, what seems to be extra. We talked about this, Sleuthy and I talked about this a long time ago in one of her Twitter spaces, that if anything, going forward, this case could set precedents, like what tools the FBI can use to get to you, how broad of a search they can do, what are their limits, right? We already know we got to do 2-way requests to get information from them, and then we're not even guaranteed to get the information. Anne's been fighting them for a while just to get full reports and notes from these guys, right? We still don't know that she got everything she wanted. I don't know. They want to say how they got what? The sheath? That's if that. Am I saying okay? Am I to understand that's if I'm going with the sheath is planted? It's the same though. They have to say how they got it. They don't want to. They'd rather throw it out. They have to say how they got it, and they don't want to. Yeah, see that statement right there. I don't see any evidence other than that one Jay Loxton filing where he put it out there that the sheath could be planted, but never followed up on that statement. I don't know. They've never brought that up again. ever. Well, if the prosecution's willing to throw out that sheath with the DNA, they may as well probably kiss their case goodbye. Huh? What do you think, Joe? You think that cell phone pings are going to be enough,
No,
even if
no,
they show really good cast qualities, work can and show you that car is that
no,
car?
no.
Mm,
Just like I told you a while ago, the DNA on that sheath is like the key piece of evidence for me right now.
mm.
But
Well,
then I
do you see
didn't
the
in Delphi.
prosecution wanting to keep it out though?
I haven't heard that. I don't know anything about that.
I'm just referring to. I'm just going off the conversation with that statement.
Right,
They
right.
would have to say how they got it, and they don't want to. How they got it, according to them, they found it. No, the only evidence they had in the RA trial was a bogus bullet test. That's all they had. No
Unspent
DNA at the scene.
round with
Un-
tool mark evidence, and the
Mhm,
judge would not allow in the defense expert about tool mark
exactly.
evidence.
The metallurgist.
Yep.
Joe and I covered that case. Oh my goodness. And Joe was actually there several times. He's actually been down to Delphi at the Monon High Bridge, and God bless Abby and Libby took us down to the site, took us down for a walk on the creek. But yeah, there's still a lot of interesting things to unpack. I'm gonna end it for tonight. Sunday, we'll be back with Salty Sunday, and I am trying to line up a guest. Either way, we'll be back regardless. And there's a couple of documents I do want to take the moment to really look at, and I'll have that lined up so we can just flow right through it. But this has been a good conversation, and V, I appreciate you coming in and talking. I like to try to figure out where you guys are in your thought process, and what do you mean, and if y'all think, again, like I don't discount that the man could have been set up because I'm not naive. I have a hard time understanding why. I can't explain why things happen in Delphi, but I can try to make my mind understand. Well, why would they go with this guy? Well, here's a reason why they would. You know what I mean? That type of thing doesn't mean I'm right or wrong. It's just how my brain is. So, I.
Yeah, V opened up my mind to some
Mhm.
new possibilities in the Koberger case. Like, why
Oh yeah.
haven't we seen any video of the DoorDash driver? We have seen suspect vehicle number one video footage, but we have not seen DoorDash driver
Well,
footage, which
yeah.
was almost the exact same time. So I'm just saying she opened my mind, opened
Well,
my
and
mind,
we have
and I
Steve G. Apparently, what we do have is a screenshot for allegedly. You can tell from the front porch and the scenery that it appears to be just that. So it appears to be a screenshot, but it says it's what the camera from 1122 can see, which is their front porch, their parking lot, which would be Jack's house across the street, also the intersection there, and that house, the camera can see everybody coming and going. Well, we have not seen that video anywhere, right? It's under seal.
right,
Cops have
right.
it. It will be
And
on that video, and that
and I think the main thought is we all still have an open mind. Like we may
exactly
lean one way or the other, but we
right.
are open to evidence presented and theories presented
Mhm.
that
That's
don't
why.
necessarily coincide with our preconceived
Yeah,
notions.
that's why I'm gonna try to get this my guest on Sunday that I'm trying to line up for us, and there's some special reasons why I want her here, and I'm in Sleuthy as well because Sleuthy's been down the rabbit holes in this case as well, and we haven't talked Coburger, Idaho, in a very long time, so I'd love to get her up here and do a deep dive, couple hours, with us, and maybe on a Sunday. We'll see. I'll let me hit her up and find out what her schedule's like. Um, thank you, Pink Peony. We appreciate you for coming in. Look, my mouse went crazy for a second. Thank you, as always, for being here. all you guys for coming in and talking to us. That's what it's all about. We love communicating with you guys. But yeah, give Sleuthy a follow. Joe, drop your link in here so everybody can go give you a follow who hasn't done so yet. Joe, you're going to be going live soon?
Yes, maybe tomorrow. Maybe if I can get
Yeah.
my shit together. I got to get my shit together.
Dude, get your shit together because I've been doing it and I'm taking a break.
Okay.
I'll be back on Sunday. You gonna come hang with me on Sunday?
Yep.
All right.
Absolutely.
You guys come and deal. We'll have a salty Sunday and see what happens. We'll just go from there. But I appreciate you guys coming in. If you don't mind, hit the like button. I appreciate it. It helps us out. We are a growing channel, and we appreciate you all for being here. Sub up again, and if you feel like it, you can join as a member now. They tell me so. Yeah. Again, thanks again for being here, and we'll see you guys again on Sunday from my end. With a deeper dive into some documents and hopefully a special guest. And then maybe tomorrow we'll see Joe and y'all come hang out over there. So let us know, Joe.
Yep. I'll get my shit together. I promise.
You promise?
I promise.
Okay. All right. Well, guys, you guys have a good night. Thank you.
Thank you all for watching this here video. Please like and subscribe and follow. Much love from Little Yas to